Hey y'all. So we are working on, and we talked about it a little while ago, starting to pour our own 7-day candles for all orders, which means the price of the candles is going to go up slightly. But I wanted to show you some of the things that I've learned in candle making that you should look out for no matter where you're buying your candles, okay? So I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to show you a couple of things. So this is a candle from our wholesaler. They're great candles. The reason why we're deciding to pour our own in the future is the cost of shipping. It can be pretty exorbitant. It is cheaper when you are shipping to a commercial property rather than a residence, and I'm not exactly sure why. This is an example of one of the candles that we poured as a test. A couple of things that I didn't like about the candle when it was poured was the lack of the air bubbles, but I think that my daughter might have put in one of the additives that makes your candles more solid and less prone to this, which is not a problem. But also, you got to watch the coloring that's being used in candles, because if it's soy-based, it's going to leave a film when it is melted that you don't want. And I'm going to show you a picture of what that film looks like, but it's not going to give you a false read. What will give you a false read, however, is your wick. Now, we kept burning our tests, and I might have to come and do a part 2 if a customer comes in, because Heidi is not feeling well today, so my daughter is at home with her baby. But for example, these wicks I hadn't been able to find anywhere. I mean, I'd gotten them on occasion. I didn't think that the wick made any difference. These wicks are braided, they're thicker, and they might even have a metal core. It looks to be that it does. These wicks have a small metal core that you may or may not be able to see. And they used to do those with lead. Okay, they don't do that anymore because lead is illegal. But this is for and it's very important for that your candle wick to stay straight. Because we all know that if the wick for this candle went off to the side, it could cause your candle to be extremely black, crack, and explode, which is a really bad thing if you're divining your candle after you've burned it. So when you go to the store and if you buy candles that are in large glass containers, make sure that you're not getting thick braided wicks. Why? Because they cause an outrageous amount of soot, which means black soot. Which means black soot will cause you to have a false read if you're reading the soot on your candle. My mentors at the Voodoo Store have written an excellent piece about how to interpret your 7-day candles, and I always suggest people go and look at that, because that is how I was taught how to read and divine the basics of candles. So this is your standard Botanica candle. When you're in these streets, you know, I kind of like the air pockets. When you see a candle that is completely solid, especially those dollar store candles, that could be soy. And it also could be a different type of wax that will make it smell like a crayon. These will burn fine, smell good. However, with this wick, I learned by research that I don't want a wick that thick in your candle. So when you're buying candles from people and you're out here in these streets at these magical stores, pay attention to the wick size if divining is going to be something that you do. You want to buy candle wicks that are treated with wax on the outside and that are fairly thin. They may actually be braided. So also, here's some other things to consider. You know, we have our public altars here, so that's why I view them. If you burn your candle in a place where, and we were testing this, and I'm actually going to move this one and put it over here away from the door, and I'm sure that I'm going to get the same results with this white one. That's another thing. True 7-day candles, y'all. This is an example of the only candle company that I know that makes true 7 days anymore is Crusader. For consistency, unfortunately, I had to stop buying from them because the only candle glass that's available now is one that is a little bit smaller. So if you're looking at the width versus the size. Now, let's talk about soot. Now, I know the reason why this candle has some soot on the top. It's not a spiritual reason. It's been sitting next to the door. Anytime a candle is exposed to wind or heating or an air conditioner vent, you're going to get movement. You're going to get soot. So know that when you're reading your candles and you're like, oh God, Jesus, I'm cursed. Soot. Hey, Misty, I found the right wicks. I'm very happy. Thank you for helping me with that. Misty Scalise owns Magical Misty's Candles. And thank you, Karen. And she's been very helpful with the candles that I've been trying to make for myself. So if you notice here, we've got your standard botanical candle. This was not one that we poured, and it was not next to the window. So you're seeing that this candle is burning nice and clear, as it should. Just because you see soot on the inside of your 6-day or 7-day candle glass, you know, it's not about usually spirituality. If, you know, it can't be part of the reading unless you have taken some of the extra things out of the equation, like wind and movement and materials. So if you go and buy these homemade candles, this is an example of a candle we're up here. You know, pink and green, love yourself, get that money. These are Freda's colors. And so we poured it. So what we'll have to do is use a heat gun to clean up the outside of this glass before we sell it. But that's an example of, and you should be able to see a little the bubble pockets, but if we don't, it's simply because we found out through trial and error that the colorant we were using is soy based. Y'all, whoa, what the hell? My store sign keeps falling off. I need to find, if any of y'all know where I can buy super good suction cups, please let me know. Because I swear I just heard this damn thing crash to the ground. And it's the hours sign. And I'm going to see if I can prop it up in the window. Yeah, well, it's already propped in the window. Look. It fell. It's sitting right there. And I'm going to leave it there for now. For her to understand. Because I'm like, I can't find a suction cup that holds glue dots, y'all. Glue dots. I even use double-sided tape. Y'all know when y'all use that stuff, there's like no getting it off. Well, underneath Danto's altar here, and I'm too old, too tired to get it out, is the sign for the security system for the store. I've tried everything to glue shit to these windows. So now I got to get online and find me some hacks because this is just not working. So if you know where I can find some super good suction hooks that are worth a damn, because the store sign's kind of heavy, let me know. So anyways, this I hate. I'm going to go turn the fan on in this other bathroom. Now I'll show you guys our, heavily worked, but not so neat. So you get to get a little behind the scenes here. Candle station. So once we found out the wicks that we were putting in the candles were going to give us, guys, let me put some water in this. Hold on, y'all. No wonder it smells like crayons. I'm so busy doing other things. Look at that mess. I'm so busy doing other things that we've got a hot plate here that works overtime. And what happens is we really got to keep an eye on the water that's in there. Now we may have, now that's what happens. Let the water run out of that, and one of those candles has cracked. There. Did you see that? I let the water run out. That motherfucker just exploded. So guess what? That all has to go in the trash. Plus, the water was probably a little cold that I put in here, not heated up properly, and coming in contact with the glass, that will explode. See, y'all think this shit is easy, and I'm here to tell you that it's not. So before we send anything to any customer, I have to go through this stuff and make sure that's going to work right. So now, what I got to do is put on a glove and get this wax out of here. So that, what we were going to do was remelt them down and redo them and retest them, but we can't even do that with that one because I poured water on it. It was hot, the water was too cold, and as you see, the glass exploded. Now let me tell you a little bit more about that. And you see, look at that. Okay, I gasped too, because I was like, the fuck? because I probably would have used my brain and thought about it before I got poured the water into it and let the water heat up a little bit more. Put this phone down. Hold on a second, y'all. Come on. I got to put this phone down because I got to put a heat-safe glove on to get this candle out of here because it's ruined. So it's broken. It's ruined. It's all right. The other one's going to be fine. Because the joy of wax is often like paint. And I'm not exactly sure where to put this. Hey, Misty, where should I pour this? You really can't pour this down the sink. I got to find something to put this in. You know what I'm going to put this in? No. Yeah. Okay. I'll put it in a mason jar. Conjurer's favorite thing, mason jar. And then I can properly dispose of it. So I always have, and I'm not going to show y'all while I fuck this up. I'm just going to do this. I always have trays underneath everything for this very reason. And I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to do a Facebook Live while I was trying to do this, but I thought it was kind of interesting. So I thought I'd share. So in any case, you got to keep an eye. I usually set a timer, but I think that as soon as I put these on, a customer came in, which makes it really sucky that my daughter's not here today because either one of us is here in the back and the other person is here in the front. So I'm going to let that water heat up a little bit before I put that warm candle back in it. But literally what we're doing to test these candles before we start sending them to clients is we are melting them back down and putting the correct wick in. So you can see there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong with candles. So you see how that thing just broke off, and I got the glass here somewhere. But I don't know what I did with the glass, but I gotta find the glass. I'm gonna throw it in here. I put the excess because when the candle exploded, what happened was it spilled into the water, so I can't use that water anymore. So what I did, and look at that separation. How fucking cool is that? And that's not something I expected. So what you have here on the top is the wax, and what you have here on the bottom is the water from the pan. I still wouldn't use it over again, but wax can be remelted and reused. So what I'm doing is, now I'm going to have to take this off, and I'm going to have to let this cool down a bit because, I'm going to have to let these cool down a bit because I don't want the same thing to happen that just happened. So I want to put some hot water in there, and I'm going to want to take these out that are melting. Just set them to the side for a minute, okay? Because we don't want to break another candle glass. They're not that expensive, but at the same point. Also, use old pans. I'm sorry if you guys cannot hear me with the stuff going on in the background, but use old pans. I got a fan going on here in the background because, as you can see, this stuff leaves all types of residue and all types of things you don't want in your food. This was the first conjure pot I bought in Ohio at the lovely Goodwill. So I'm going to heat this water back up. It's okay for them to cool off a little bit. Like I said, we're testing these. But we definitely know that these wicks are too thick. There's no way in the world you're going to get a right read off of these wicks. Now, those wicks would be very good in other situations. Figural candles and the like. And so, they might be pretty good. But, buying in bulk also helps you if you're doing stuff for a living. I think I have wax on my nose. So buying in bulk can help you if you are doing things like this for a living, anything. The one reason why I started selling herbs and roots, and let me take this glove off. I started selling herbs and roots was because our local apothecary closed and the other root stores just didn't have everything I needed. So, buying in bulk has helped me save money. It helps me to give you guys a reasonable price because sometimes when I see these herbs and roots for sale on like Amazon, I'll be like, are they smoking crack? Chances are they're not buying wholesale. They're paying retail and then charging you more than retail for the item in order to make some money. Now, what I like about Magical Misty's candles is she also uses a thinner wick. This is not as thick. What you saw, those wicks that we were using, was what we bought way back when we first started making candles, and we had no idea that wick size could be a problem. But let's talk about traditional candles versus what you see in, traditional botanical candles versus what you see when you order from a qualified candle maker. On our left, Exhibit A is pink candle from a candle store that orders their candles probably from one or two large manufacturers, okay? These candles have been problematic. Sometimes they don't stand up well. Sometimes they have different burn rates. But this is Misty's candle. As you can see, it's much more vivid. You can see that it stands up better. You can actually see that the candle is bigger than your standard botanical candle, okay? When you look at, like, Misty has two ways you can use a skull candle. You can have it tilted back like that, or you can have it up like this, and by having it up like this, all you have to do is just put it on something warm and melt it. So she sent them to me both ways. So here we have where it sits up like this. These are your standard Botanica skull candles. And when I tell you, these things have given me more than enough fits. As you can see, they both on a gangster lean. They don't stay sturdy. This one will sit like this if you don't melt and flatten the bottom. Future orders that I get, I'm going to ask that she melt and flatten the bottom, because I really like them when they sit flat like that. But you can see you're just not going to get the same quality of candle when you are buying candles from people who are getting them poured by machines, especially when it comes to figural candles, okay? And so another thing I want to show you, and I was really irritated about it, and I'm going to see if I can find it. We had two candles that we bought from a vendor, and both of them, we bought several, but both of them really pissed me off. Let's talk about overfilled candles for a minute and bad wicks. So as you can see, my water's heating up, my water's boiling again, and the tops of these candles are not hot. So I'm going to put these back in. So as you can see earlier, I exploded one. That one will not be going back in. That one's just going to go right on over here to the trash. So let's go throw that away. In any case, so I screwed that one up. I don't even want to try to recycle that. Que sera, sera. But I'm getting a real kick out of the fact that this wax separated itself from the actual water. And as you can see, you can make quite a mess. And these trays are like $10 from IKEA. We use a lot of trays on the candle station. I bought this desk for $20. I don't believe in messing up nice things. And as I get better at this, I'll refine the process. Maybe I'll make a lot less mess. I don't know how that goes. But, like I said, just like with the votive candles, you guys, I really sure that I researched how to make them, what worked the best before I sent them, because there was I'd actually put a votive candle. I'd use the traditional votive candle molds that you get from, say, Joann's or any craft store. And then I found out those aren't really the votives that are being used for magic, because they have flat or concave tops, which mean that candle's going to spread differently when you're burning it and you're going to divine. Over here are the new candles we've made, and in order to flatten out the tops, you got to use a trusty glue gun, which I did got wax all over because of my inaccurate pouring skills. You can use a heat gun, not glue gun, heat gun to flatten out your candles, to get excess wax off of your molds, get it off your floor. And then, what if you've got wax on the heat gun itself? These little plastic scrapers are the best thing ever. So literally, all this mess I just made, I'm going to scrape it up and I'm going to throw it away. Okay? If I'm working in a space where there's no other debris around and I spill something, I can scoop it up and save it. And so we use there's that piece of glass. Now I can throw it away. We use various different silicone containers to keep the excess. Helps us to keep the dye lots well and consistent, and it helps us to store wax that we didn't use in a previous pour. So, you got to be careful. You get broken glass, you got heat. We had to get heat resistant gloves. We have a smoke detector back here because if you're like me and you go help a customer and you forget to set your timer and you forget that you have candles on, you now see what can happen. And then if you're dumb enough to then pour some cool water. But let me show you some other examples of some bullshit ass candles, okay? So we got this from one of our wholesalers, and it came to us like this. Look at the wick, y'all. The wick, it's like an ectopic pregnancy, sitting way outside of where the fuck it's supposed to be. This candle, when it gets halfway, it's not gonna burn right, because the wick is just damn near sitting on the outside of the fucking candle. So if you are in a store and you're buying candles for Magic, check your wick position. And it was all chipped when we got it. And that was when I just put my foot down and said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to find the mold for this one too. So we can make reversibles of this one. So it's a really thick, raggedy ass wick. I'll never order from these people again. Okay? I'm not going to sell that shit to my customers. And that's what's made me decide to pour a lot of my own. This is from that same candle company, very reputable candle company in New York. But look at this candle, y'all. First of all, the wick is way the fuck off center. That's going to give you a bad burn. Secondly, where's the wick? It's supposed to be 1/4 inch. And the biggest problem here is the wax height. The machine or whoever poured this candle poured too much wax into it. Your wax shouldn't be further than that. For a proper burn, to allow the wick to work properly, it should look like this. Okay? Excuse me. So now I'm going to get off of here in case a customer comes in. I just got through waiting on some folks and forgot to turn my timer on. And that's how I ended up fucking up that one thing of glass. But it's all good. What I love about doing things like this is, you pay attention. Nobody gets hurt. Wax and the materials combined together, they're a reasonable price. It's something that you can kind of afford to mess up. Sometimes people try to do things that are way over their pay grade, like tiling and home remodeling, and then they realize what they fucked up, and that the fuck up is very costly. So when you're trying to do things, I had to really sit down and look at the cost effectiveness of ordering just the glass and the wax, okay? And where I could source those things from to get a better price versus paying for them already poured. Is that to say that we'll only sell hand-poured plain 7-day candles? No. Because we actually may have a situation where we don't want to pour them or we don't have time to pour them. And as my mambo says, you got to outsource things sometimes. Yes, we want to make figural candles that are prefixed with our formulations. But if I just want some plain fixed figural candles, I'm going to Misty. I know that she makes good stuff and I don't have to worry about what it's going to look like. But we like making candles, so we wanted to see what we could do on our own. But the biggest thing is, and that's what I see with a lot of Conjure products, I have gotten packages from several of you who wish to sell things in our store. Haven't gotten a chance to get back to all of you, but I promise you I will. The ones that I will sell in the store they were in good condition, they smelled great, they were fresh. But there's going to be some ones that aren't so great, and you just can't put stuff on the shelf because you think it looks nice. Because we have a candle my daughter made. Oh, I love this candle. And I think I might still burn it, but you know how, folks is just ignorant. Somebody who knows anything about candles will come to my window and see that it's really smoking and be like, oh my God, they must have some bad juju. And I know this wick was too thick. But I was so proud of her when she made this candle. And now we can make reversible candles right with the black on the top and the whatever color on the bottom. So now we can make reversible candles for any situation, love, money, anything. Here, right here, with 2 hot plates, 2 thrifted pots, some, and some wax. But then when you start talking about molds and colors and blah, 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 it's expensive, okay? But also, I'm a big believer in handmade. So I want to make sure that my customers get handmade items from me, especially when I'm ordering from certain places. And not all of my vendors, like the vendors I get these 7 days from, oh, they're lovely. I've used them in my work for years. But the last place that I order from in New York, every time I get them, So, my goal is to be a purveyor of fine magical goods. I can't do that if the products that we are creating are not going to give you a correct read. Did I put that out? No, it's still going. And let me show you an example. Just by moving this candle and not having it next to the door where there is subject to wind, that flame is a lot calmer. I had to even question whether or not it was still lit. Therefore, when that flame is lower and calmer, remember, keep your candle wicks cut to 1/4 inch, okay? Because anything else is going to produce a really powerful flame that could misinterpret your reading of said candle, okay? Now, let's talk about fixed candles, okay? Oh, thank you, Nick. Let's talk about fixed candles. You got to be careful with your herb to root ratio. Now, these candles here are fixed throughout. So it may look like there's a little bit in here. Well, you don't need a whole lot. Because when I first did these fixed candles, and look, you can see there's some in the bottom too. When I first did fixed votives, and some of them, just because of the candle color, will look a little bit more intense, also because of the formulation. But this is all you need, okay? But some of them, you won't even see the roots that much at all because of the candle color, but they're in there. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you about fixing candles, and when you buy a fixed candle from us, you can either buy your classic Botanica, and we do put a nice smattering of herbs on the top. What I tell people in my candle magic class is that you make sure that before you light this candle, you take those herbs and push them out away from the wick, okay? Now, me, I live life dangerously. Sometimes my candle be on fire before I can get into the fireplace, but I know what I'm doing. But if you don't, and you don't want a false read, keep those herbs away from the wick. Some places will have more herbs in there than is absolutely necessary. I saw some women's fixed candles the other day, and I'm wondering how the whole fucking candle didn't catch on fire. Personally, I don't even use this many herbs in my fixed candles. I'd probably take about 1/4 of this out. But people get really irritated when they think you didn't give them enough for their money. So you can continue to work a candle. My suggestion to you is to take some of these herbs out when you get ready to light the candle and save them for later of the week and drop them in. That you don't have to just set a 7-day candle up and have it light. But we do try to stay pretty consistent and make sure that the herbs at least cover the surface. I don't know who made this one. I would have put a little bit more in. But you don't want to be able to count the I literally went to somebody's conjure shop and I didn't make this candle either, and I'm about to take this big ass stick out of here because it looks like a log. I think my kids made this. That's a no. So you want to take some of that out. So I'm gonna be taking this one off the shelf, but I'll check everything before it goes out. You want to avoid, you can even put your herbs in an herb grinder a little bit. That's especially what I do when I'm making fixed votives. In my candle group, we got this negative Nancy who don't know shit about magic. And anytime somebody puts a candle up with some herbs in it, it's not safe. Oh my God, she's sickening, y'all. Okay, I'm like, sweetheart, let me explain this to you. The herbs are flammable. Essential oils are flammable. Let me explain something to y'all. All candles are flammable. And that's what I told her. Hi, sister. I'm ending the Facebook Live, and I'll be with you in just a minute. Oh, please get a basket, ask questions. I'll be right with you. You guys have to use common sense when you're using these candles. As you can see, I ain't used common sense when I poured that cold ass water and broke that candle glass, right? Happens. But, magic ain't necessarily safe anyway. So you have to do what you can to mitigate issues with your magical work, okay? So I gotta go. But I'm glad you got to see some of this craziness that is my life. I decided to take you back there and show you that crazy ass candle station. And I'm glad that I did. So that you know that when you're buying these candles from us, we're not going to sell you garbage. We're always going to buy from the best craftspeople available, or else we're going to make them ourselves. Take care. Yay! Put in that order. Whoop, whoop. Y'all take care. Stay black. And I will see you later. Bye.